And since then, 3 Labour and 2 Conservative Prime Ministers have come and gone, and not one of them has shown the political will to deal with the housing benefit trap. So I think that's the other issue, really, around benefits.
Thank you. I'm going to let John have 20 seconds.
Jesus.
Then we're going to do a quick fire, because I've got about 10 minutes before I'm going to scoot you outside. I'm going to do a quick fire. I had a swathe of hands, but we're going to have one person respond so we can get the final issues out, if that's okay. Go, John. I'm watching.
What I think is that homeless people are some of the most gifted, the most talented, the most challenged, the most under-supported people on God's earth. They have been to the edge of the abyss and they've looked over. They have been on the equivalent of Homer's Odyssey and they get out of it. They have a richer life than the host community. They are absolutely fantastic people. But it does us no good to deny that the hurdles they need to get out of, they need to climb hurdles. I'll just give you one example. I am always meeting not just big issue vendors, but people tell me who are in your hostels, who say, what have they ever done for me? What has a hostel ever done for me? And they give you a long list of all the times you've failed them. A lot of the people I get are coming around and around homelessness. And I had an argument with one of them recently when he told me that the big issue had never done anything. We'd got him housed, we'd got him on disability, all sorts of stuff. And I said, why is it that the big issue does more for you than you do for yourself? Because in the course of that time, he'd had 150,000 cigarettes, 9,000 hamburgers, and all sorts of things which were not good for him. And what I'm saying is that is actually a mental well-being it is a condition. And we have to broker a way of getting through that. And I think we destroy the talent of the homeless and the skills and the abilities by not doing a proper diagnosis on their condition, because only by doing that can we get people out of the sticky stuff.
Thank you. Can I have my microphone helpers at hand? We're going to be quick, so keep your hands ready, okay? Oh, no, not more. Now, do you want a glass of wine tonight? Okay, the lady in the red was first earlier, probably about half an hour ago now. So if we can go here first, if you wouldn't mind. Lady in the jacket, thank you very much. I'm only having one of you respond, okay? Right.
Well, this isn't a question.
Okay.
It's a response to primarily the lady in the polka dot, but also comments on everything. We work with all of you organisations. I'm from an Emmaus community, and we believe that we actually have a model that works, does a lot of the things that John just talked about, but something that we do that nobody, I don't think, has mentioned here tonight is one of the things we consider the most important thing in working with the homeless people who come to live with us is to give them their self-esteem back. And that's what we work really hard at. We have everybody on your spectrum, John, from the ones who just bounce through to the ones who are right down at the deep, who need a lot of work to construct, to put them back where they come from. And we try. We give a home, we give work, and we give support. We also try to give a social life. We haven't got quite as far as the sex bit yet. They can do that by themselves, but...
No, they can't.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. They can find their partners by themselves.
All those inflatable Marilyn Monroes don't
Right,
work.
that's it, okay.
But we believe we have a system that works, and I could bore you for the rest of the evening. But
Yeah.
Over a drink in a minute,
works,
I'm looking
doesn't
forward
it?
to. Can't wait to be bored over my glass of wine.
I'm delighted to hear that slowly we're groping towards less of a deficit-based or a pathology approach to more one which is appreciative of people's strengths. I was at this morning a consultation exercise about the future of the voluntary sector, and I received a lecture or a talk from one of your illustrious colleagues when I learned the use of a new term, co-production. I don't know if you've heard this. I thought it was to do with films, but actually it's about essentially valuing and appreciating and working with people's strengths. And for me, there's still, I think we're moving towards what David Ramsbottom, I think pithily puts it, somewhere to live, something to do, and someone to love. Yeah. We know, as most of you will know, he was the Chief Inspector of Prisons and he is an ex-army, so he says it very pithily. So we're slowly moving towards it, but there's still, for me, too much language, which essentially is deficit-based. And you're right, there's more and more talk about well-being, which is fantastic, but a little too loose, as far as I'm concerned, with people's failings. And actually, that's where all the conversation is. I have been out with Jeremy on a street count, and we picked up somebody, and as if by clockwork, he told us his story, all about this dreadful life he'd had. And I just think that there is a whole need for a change in culture, so I'm happy to hear about that too.
Okay, with statements, I don't think you're needing a response. Are you desperate? No, I think that's good. We're good. Got two over here which have been promised, so I'm going there next.
I value this conversation we've been having wonderfully. It's been really tremendously inspiring to me. I've been involved with this field for over 40 years with Spitalfields Script Trust, and I just want to ask one specific question regarding drug addiction and alcohol abuse, and that is whether harm reduction, as opposed to having an abstinence-based work, what the panel's views on the preference on the approach to that work.
Anyone would like to take that? Go, Jerry.
Well, I think there's always a balance, and I think at the moment, if I have my way, certainly within Thames Reach, I'd move a bit more towards the abstinence-based approach. But I do know people who've got onto a script and found that has been the way which has got them off of drugs. So I don't want to go too far. And I know the Conservatives at the moment are very concerned about some of the harm reduction approaches. So there is a balance. But yeah, I think we've probably in this country moved a bit too far away from the abstinence model these days.
Thank you. Gentleman at the back.
Hello. I'm interested by the fact that you've all come together here today to talk about it. And I'm also interested by how many different organisations you come from and how many homeless organisations there are. And I'd hopefully like you all to answer in one word, and as honestly as you can, kind of not organisation line, whether you think that you need more communication and more pooling of ideas and resources to deal with homelessness more effectively. And also, in one word, could you, maybe one word's a bit hard, but outline your organisation's biggest failure so far and how you
I love that question.
can deal with it, because
We're
everyone
not
here
allowed
is
to
being
learn from our failures.
everyone here is being very nice and positive, but I'd like to see how we can.
No, I think that's fair enough.
Thanks.
And we're going to end with this. I'm going to ask you to do 1 point each, and I'm going to quickly sum up and let the glass of something, I hope, which might be outside. Should we start with you, Fiona?
Okay. In terms of money and resources, I think yes, it would always be lovely, but I think it has to be targeted. And I think some of the things we've been talking about tonight are where we need money. We need money to look at new ways and see what works with people. I remember having conversations over the years with people about trying to prevent evictions by having anger management interventions, and I've put in so many funding applications for it over the years that I can't even tell you how many they were, but we endlessly try to get those sorts of interventions for people, and there's no one out there who ultimately is responsible for that sort of thing. I'm not going to give you a glib answer, because everybody that falls out of the system with us is a failure, but I would think again, it's glib, but we could always do better. I suppose for me, the biggest failure is when systems fail people, because systems should never fail people. People should get the best opportunity to get through a process and get help from us. And so if a system fails, that's always our biggest failure, I think.
Thank you. Jeremy?
Two failures. The Thames Reach vision since probably the mid-90s has been to end rough sleeping. Failed, haven't done that. Need to do better.
Yes.
So to end street homelessness, we haven't done that, so that can only be seen as a failure, because every year we're seeing people die on the streets. We need to do much better. Secondly, when we poll our service users, 70% want to be in work, and round about 10% are in work. So I feel ashamed of that, because it's a pitiful figure, and we need to